Alright, chat. Let us begin. Click. It carries on for a while. Let's restart the beginning of that. Alright, chat. We have ourselves stuff to talk about. I'm going to direct myself to our new handy-dandy, well-completely made Caucasian College Memes channel. And we're going to talk about these changes. Because these changes are heavy, dense, and large. Very large. It might not seem like we did a lot, but we did a lot. And by we, I mean myself and Horror last night. It was a little bit me more at the end, because Horror had to go to sleep, because he has to work like a normal human being, unlike me, who's allowed to be a streamer from his house. But it's been spring cleaning for a long time coming. And we're going to use the handy-dandy View server as role to demonstrate some of this. But we have several things to go over. Most of which is introducing all this shit. Should anybody have comment, questions, and concerns, you can be able to ask me these questions while we're live. Anywho, I'm gonna put it on the screen, and I'm gonna politely ask that my wife not send me anything that she does not feel comfortable having revealed in front of several hundred people at any one time, since this is gonna get recorded. And we're gonna talk about what we are doing and have done to the server. My boys. Alright. So, chat. We have several things in the server. Some have been changed for names because at some point I would like to have my server on the Discovery Tools. But in order for us to be on the Discovery Tools, that requires us to be able to actually have discoverability. And that requires people. That's one of the actual things. I believe it's right in here, actually. Yes, down here towards Discovery. We have fewer than 1,000 members. Lord, if we ever get over 1,000, we know it's going to be even more hectic. But anybody has any questions, comments, concerns about why server channels used to have different names that have been renamed, or why we changed it from SPC Nibbles and Fried Chicanery to Carl and Company? That is the reason why. Let's get that question out the way. Second question. Carl, did you make new rules? Yes, I did. We're going to read them together, because I want to make sure everybody understands them. If you have not seen them before and have not read them when given an opportunity, as we were fixing the visibility of post history, again, my bad. You're not only going to be able to read them at your leisure at any time, but also we're going to make sure we go over them here in case somebody has comments, questions, and concerns while they have the opportunity to. And off of Horror's suggestion, I'm probably going to put this here as a video, clipped from the thing, and posted so that people can understand the full breakdown of what is there in the rules. Because who better to help you interpret the rules than the person who fucking wrote them? That is not directed in anxiety at anybody here. That is because in the future, as we've had in the past, people having ambiguous rules meant that they felt comfortable doing shit that they shouldn't have been doing. Because they thought, you didn't write it down! So, if somebody looks at these rules and say, wow, these rules are really fucking heady and really wordy, there's a reason. There's a reason the rules are written that way. There's a reason each clause has the clause that's there. Those who remember what was in the old rules channel, every single one of those bars that required an addendum on an addendum on an addendum, they're all in here. They're all encompassing, and they're so simple to understand, I will be beggared for belief if somebody doesn't understand them. Especially if they are of comparable intelligence. But, anyways, the rules. Number 1. Follow the Discords, TOS, and Hateful Conduct Policy at all times. Breaking TOS or Hateful Conduct Policy, now amended to HCP, can get the server deleted. Severe violations result in instantaneous bans. 2. Do not spoil any games that I am streaming. If you want to discuss a game that I am streaming while I am streaming it, you can be able to use spoilage tags inside of the chats, both inside of Caucasus Colored Memes, which now has more channel sections, such as moving things that were in other places before, as well as adding new ones, AFK Voice, which is for Fred mode, Music Control Room, The Poop Shoot, which is a additional general chat. You'll find out why it's there soon in a second. Collared Memes, renamed now to the Collared Memes Depot, as a form of a meme depository. The AFK Voice Lobby, the Music Lobby, and Caucasus Collared Memes 1, and Caucasus Collared Memes 2. There are other places for this as well. Originally, The Negro, now renamed to The Afro Parlor, where you can find all of Relaxation Lounge, Exceptionalism where it is. Broadcasting, now separated from its VCs, for reasons that will be explained. Current Event Space, which was broadcasting, now for all of the news posting needs you have, along with the Printing Press Express, for anything that can be made into forum posts, should you want to update about things that you don't necessarily need to put down in podcast ideas, this whole thing. And also, encouraged use of public threads for the ability to link shit and have the ability to talk about the shit that's being linked so that you do not clutter the channel. As well as Body Politic, Gaming, and non-podcast chat living here alongside Stream Relay. Get a new playlist. I would like Modest by Default. Number 3. Try to keep conversations in the various channels on topic. It is fine that the natural course of conversation will lead away from the channel topic, but if people are asking you to move on, or to make sure to put things in the proper place, please be conscientious of those other people, and try to do so. Number 4. Read the room. We do not need to have competitions over who can be the most based or the most X-phobic person, nor do we need people glow posting or trying to skirt the rules. Endlessly shitting on people or just being an insufferable asshole is going to get you banned. This is the single player Carl and fried chicanery community. It is not Itter, it is not Yitter, it is not Reddit, it is not /poll, or any other website or any other group. I do not care what they do over there. We don't do that shit over here. You're not doing it in my house. Think of it as an extension of my house. My pool house. A big ass pool house with a pool table and a lounge chair. Which leads into number 5. Leave your personal bullshit at the door. Constant personal dramas, leaking of DMs, spreading rumors, and sharing fake Photoshop messages made up to stir drama will get you removed from the server. I do not care who does it. I do not care who caused it. I don't care where it came from. I can only account for what I know exists. If somebody makes some shit up, I have nothing to do with that. Somebody tries to share some shit to create a problem, that has nothing to do with me if it has nothing to actually do with me. Until it does have something to do with me. Like, a person comes to me, says, "Carl, you're ruining your programming!" After literally the day before talking to them and believing that we walked away with the conversation being normal, only for them to run to who is now a former podcast host, telling them, "You need to get him to do what I want. He's ruining his broadcasts." Leading into number 6. Do not bother the mods with the random personal disputes. If you're going to ping a moderator, which are dingo tier users, make sure it's for severe rule-breaking content. For anything else, use the MasterCard, which is the block button, or report that to a single active moderator by DMing them individually. Repeatedly pinging for the mods for no reason is another fast way to get yourself banned. It is officially noon. This leads into number 7, and number 7 is very important. That's why it's highlighted and it's stamped out the way that it is. Hello, John. Welcome to the chat. I'm going to make sure we read this twice. Okay, chat? Okay. Being a paid subscriber or donator will not protect you from being punished or banned for breaking the rules. Let's read that again one more time with emphasis. What's wrong with feeling? Being a paid subscriber or donator will not protect you from being punished or banned from breaking the rules. I don't care how deep a relationship we've had in the past or we've wanted to have in the future. I don't care what works we've set up or what plans we've made. I don't care how much money you've given me, even if it's to the point of being able to change my life. The amount of money you've given me and the amount of help you've given me does not give you license to act as though you own me, or my moderators, or my audience, or my chats, or my content, or my broadcasts, or my broadcasting platforms and ideas, or the reach in which you could have by being able to bring things to my attention, or to the attention of our audiences, communities, or blend-over communities, or further-reaching cross-post communities that we are building now and in the future. I will clap that ass so fucking fast. I will clap that ass so fucking fast. I will clap that ass so fucking fast. I'm gonna clap that ass so fucking fast. Rule number 8. Do not spam. This includes repeatedly shitting up the channels or trying to use the server to promote your channel or content outside of the relevant chats, which can be found inside of the Afro Parlor. Some of you may or may not have access to this depending on how active you are. We're gonna go over that later. Don't worry, we'll get there. Number 9. If you have unwanted sexual urges, have a fucking graham cracker and calm yourself down. While I will encourage people to find their love quest inside of our audience and make personal connections with people, IRL, especially if they happen to live around this area, would have the ability to travel to meet somebody in the area. That does not mean pull a vosh on the particular puppies that may be in our audience. Whatever social media influencer predilecting themselves from somebody in their audience, please don't do it. If they ain't feeling you, just don't do it. If they ain't feeling you, don't do it. Now, if they feeling you, keep it in your DMs, you lovebirds. But if they ain't feeling you, leave it alone. Leave it alone. Learn to accept rejection. And number 10. Also very important. It's the reason why it's highlighted. This is effectively, for those of you who have no idea what it is, called a Minors Do Not Interact clause, also known as Adult Swim. In this case, I'm willing to be lenient with the amount of people who are in my audience because I know that I have people who are under the age of 18. I know I have people who are under the age of like 25. I, for the purposes of rules, am going by the number 18. I do not care about anything else. I want the law of legality and consent, where you are legally considered an adult. Adult Swim is in effect at all times. Meaning, if you act and you claim that you cannot be discussed to, and that you have to be treated like a child, it's too big, Mr. Man. You can't use those words on me. I'm just a kid. We are going to ban or mute you until we have the confirmation that you are above the age of 18. Or that you grow up and act like you want to be treated like an adult. So, to give an example, if you get into an argument, whether provoked or exacerbated by you or somebody else, and somebody pulls the "you can't talk to me that way, I'm a kid" card, we finna treat you like a fucking kid. When you decide you want to grow up and be an adult and be treated and have the consideration of an adult, then we will do so. To make things clear, this probably should have also been highlighted in a better notation, but it is what it is. To make things clear to all users, which is why I'm also reading on camera here, the rules here are going to be more strict going forward. But when I say strict, I mean the adherence to these types of rules here. I do not mean it's going to be a police state where you're allowed no fun allowed. That's not what I mean by it's going to be strict. I mean we're going to have a regimen. There's going to be procedures. We will follow the procedures at all times. us, the moderators and the people who are trying to make it fun for you to be here. This includes adhering to the Discord's terms of service, which includes the community guidelines and the hateful conduct policy, all of which have been linked inside of Rule 1. They are all there. This is the one for Discord's terms, this is the ones for the guidelines, this is the one for the hateful conduct policy. You do not have to like the TOS, but you do have to follow it. And that includes, but it's not limited to, the following type guidelines, such as not posting Safe for Work outside of the Safe for Work channels, repeatedly using slurs to degrade and demean individuals and groups, which includes dead naming and misgendering a transgender person, calling for exclusion, segregation, or discrimination against protected groups, and denying well-documented mass human atrocities or casting doubt on their occurrences. This does not mean that you cannot have jokes amongst people in our audience, but it does mean, should there be somebody who comes from outside, or somebody who is in, if there is a way that they wish to be identified, and they make it clear that's how they want to be identified, we're not going to poke fun at them just fucking cuz. We're not going to egg, we're not going to pick, we're not going to bully, and we're certainly not going to let people try to play the angle of whether or not they say that they're being bullied when really they're not. If the most politest joke, the most in favor trans-positive thing makes a person have a flip, we're not going to let them hide behind that. But at the same time, we're not going to let a person just constantly fucking hammer on an issue and constantly just fucking insult somebody to their face and act as though, well, I didn't know. Not having it. Appeals and reports. This is where it gets fun, boys and girls. Those of you who remember what was in the original Rules channel know exactly why it is like what it is. And yes, horror has the absolute permission to clap the cheeks too. We just got to that fun section. Per the actions of multiple users in the past, we have a simple if we feel like it policy. If you push the lines of rules after I or any other moderator, with the inclusion of Madam Hellfire, our current head moderator of the server, who has proven herself time and time again with improving things around here, making things better, making content smooth, etc. Having warned you to stop, especially on air during broadcasted content, we will answer the action with an equal answer up to and including permanent cross-platform bans. Not just banning from the Discord. We're going to ban you from the Discord, going to ban you from the YouTube, going to ban you from Twitter, going to ban you from Reddit if we ever should make a subreddit, ban you from every single platform I use in perpetuity. Period. Period. We are not your adult parents. You are grown fucking adults. Unless you are legitimately sheltered and or autistic, which still is not an excuse, but is reasonable for some of us, we expect you, and we believe, you know how to read a room and should be trusted with being able to read the rules that you are agreeing to by joining the server. Granted, for some of you, you were already grandfathered into the server by the time these rules were written. So please familiarize yourself with these rules. For everybody else, this is going to be jumping off point number 1 for them. We try to be understanding and lenient, but after years of the behavior that have led to additional rule changes, I am not pivoting rules, because somebody thinks that it's funny to scream hard R at the top of their fucking lungs when I need to take my headsets off to address an in-house concern or problem, especially if it's in the middle of a broadcast. If you want to report a problem to myself or the mods, you can privately DM your concerns to us, and we will handle these situations and address them. Most importantly, in the instance of violations, the severity of violations, how many times a user has violated the rules, which rule was violated, and the moderator's best estimation of the violator's intentions will determine your consequences. The consequences will be one of the following: a notification of the violation or removal of the violating content, an official warning, a strike against the user which allows moderators to document the behavior, the moving of the user to a temporary timeout channel, or in extreme, repeated, and intentional cases, banning from the server. The number of strikes necessary to move a user from timeout to ban is to be determined. It will be decided on the fly. And, like I said, if we feel like it, there might be a one-strike policy for some people who are extreme repeat offenders. Now, for some of you, you have heard me exclaim case examples or use examples that refer to things that have happened in the past. Probably things that have been documented and talked about on other broadcasts for Versus Chat or have happened in the middle of Carl at Home content. These are the examples that I am talking about that led to those removals. This is that rule. And ironically enough, this particular instance of violation part was always a part of the server. But it was not properly notated in a way where everybody cannot say they didn't know that it was there. Which is part of the reason why the rules were made for a new channel and that channel removed. Hopefully that makes perfect sense for most people here. Comments, questions, concerns before we move to the roles position. Ask your questions, boys. There are no wrong answers for the answers that are wrong. I'll give you guys a second to ask things and say things. Yes, John. Spider Monkey Man is definitely one of them. There are others whose names may or may not get mentioned. Moving on to roles in 5. Moving on to roles in 4. Moving on to roles in 3. Forever hold your peace, and we shall move forward. Putting the cap back on my drink. Moving forward. Roles. Everyone who joins will start off at the inductee level. It is automatically assigned by Dino, and then will be removed by Dino and replaced with the first of many roles that allow for what has been a rebalance adjustment of the tiers of access in the full server. Everyone who joins will get inductee. We have already changed around some settings to accommodate for perms and allowances to make post images and memes, to make posting images and memes in certain channels possible. That feels like I rewrote it in a way that was not proper. I will fix that in a second. Making sure that reads as making posting images and memes to certain channels better and possible at all levels. There's 2 E's in possible. Possibly. The Asian superhero cousin of Amadeus Cho. His power is that he allows for Murphy's Law. Anything that can happen will happen. You rank up from Neophyte to Mendigo Kiva to the boys by being active in this community. That is it. We do not have automatic bots that are going to rank you up the normal way, because the only one that we have is Dino. And Dino only allows me to use 3. I'm not fucking paying premium to give more than 3. So I'm going to do it manually. Myself and the moderators. You rank up by being active in the community and being an active contributor. That is all you gotta do. All you gotta do is be around and actively be active. Not just sitting around and just existing in the server, popping your head in whenever it feels comfortable to you, which you are allowed to do. But that is not the same as being somebody who's been here from day 1. That's not the same as being somebody who came in on day 299 and then acting and behaving in the complete consideration as a person who's been from day 1 and putting in the exact same work that they have. I value people who show integrity and show follow through. Not people who just join and say, I've been here longer than X, I should have more access than they do. That's not how we're doing it. Putting paste on my tooth. Moving forward for the roles. Each of these roles for Neophyte, Mendigo Kiva, and the boys, which have been roles that have always been meant for higher access to the main server, now have been segmented in ascending order. When you gain one, you lose the last one, because you'll have access to what the last role had before you. The maximum height that you can get to is the boys, but there are augments that you can be able to have. Some have now been made into paid things. Some have always been paid things, but we're making it much more clear how to access them and gain them. Because United Negroid Cringe founder, the UNCF, where Carl is a terrible thing to waste, as well as head of the Big Titty Committee and head of... Oh my god, why is that listing them twice? Haha. You're stupid, Carl. Head of the Big Titty Committee and head of the Chad Initiative are speaker roles that are granted to the Broadcasting VC channel for Fried Chicanery and the Green Room, which technically now have been renamed something entirely different. Rather, yeah, they have. I can't link them like that, but for the broadcasting channels for live stream content is what it really should say. Some of these roles are granted because some of the people have this role, have been granted the role because they earned it, and others have paid for full rank YouTube, Subscribestar, or Ko-Fi pledge membership. If you would like to gain this role, or you believe that you are entitled to this role for payments that have already been rendered, you need to notify me so that I can check it against whatever it is that needs to be looked into on whatever place it needs to be looked into in order to do so at your leisure. And for UNCF, it is a donor role that has always been given to the real ones that have been here in my time of need and in our period of growths as we've had them. But that does not mean that the people who have UNCF are more important than everybody else who does not. It is a role that is personally earned, having been an asset of the community and of the broader content and of the broader growth of my channels and of my career, or having helped me personally in some way, not just in paying money, but in other means, which also includes monetary pledging and donations that have been in excess of $100. There are some people who have done that. There are some people who they have had the ability to provide active opportunities for building and growth. Obviously, in the case of people who I make content with on a frequent basis, they have helped me as well. Everyone at some point in time that has gained UNCF have helped me in some way, which has been notably above and beyond the call of duty. They have been the Kamen Riders and the Power Rangers that have come to my fucking rescue, which is why they have said role. You can have UNCF as well as Big Titty Committee and Chat Initiative at the same time as having the boys. But more than likely, if you don't want to keep the boys role, you'll probably have those, because UNCF, head of the Big Titty Committee, and head of the Chat Initiative have the ability to see the highest high of the server for what is open to those in the public that are not moderators. The Subscribestar tags and all of the other individual roles that are auto-assigned by Subscribestar exist by donating to those tiers. If you would like to be on those tiers, you can be able to find the link to my Subscribestar in the link inside of the role portion, as well as the links for and the tags for Head Dingo and Dingo being the moderators of the server. They are the people who you will be talking to whenever you have a problem, or you have questions, comments, and concerns, or need to strategize about content that needs to be followed through with whenever I am not available. Usually because whenever they come through, whenever they are here, and blase, 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 they are the people you're going to go to. They are usually going to be able to answer those questions because they will have probably already had an answer from me explaining the thing. Or they'll shoot the question to me because they have direct lines to communicate to me, as well as being the people who are more than likely going to immediately come to me if I'm inside the broadcasting room and tell and ask me questions about why I'm doing X, Y, or Z. It is by design for that purpose. All the moderators uphold the TOS of the server and of the cross communities because eventually once we have more mods and we have more mod opportunities and applications for them, there will be people whose focus is for moderating the server, moderating the Discord / Reddit integrations, should we have them, moderating for YouTube, moderating for Twitch chat, as well as dealing with the subreddit exclusively, as well as following up with everything. Basically, becoming our own little Destiny.gg. Or in this case, Carl.gg. Or rather, Carl.nappy. Carl.np? Nappy? Yeah, that works. They have all had been tested, and they all have gone through the vetting process, as well as probationary period before being trusted with the leadership and individual judgment calls on handling cross-community server issues and report and ban appeals, which I should have put a link for that there. I'm going to make sure to actually add that right now. It is going to be over here inside of rules. I believe it's rules. Correct, it's rules. Here on the document for the Google form for being able to apply to be a moderator. The information is on the form. You can follow through with it. XXX, blase, 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 blah, blah, blah. There we are. And the last role that we have, which is channel editor. Currently, at this time, before in the past we had two, at this time we no longer have any permanent editors that are in my employ. But I encourage every creative that is in my audience to make and upload their own Carl posts, Carl edits, and their fan art to the Carl Posting channel and all social media accounts. Because not only do I personally collect all that fan art gets transformed into thumbnails for live streams and for videos. I promise you, that folder exists, and I amass things in it. Every single point. Every single point. I just have to remember which one it is. Harvey. That's really no problem. We can fix that in like a moment, but this right now is more important to make sure I get through. Carl hosted on-air content guidelines, Carl Home versus Chat, Fries Chicanery, and etc. Before we move on to this section, any comments, questions, and concerns? Questions going once. Questions going thrice. Questions getting hot. Questions beating rice. Moving forward. This section is probably the most annoying section that I needed to write, and also the most annoying section that needed to be explicit in its understanding and for its breakdown. Any content that is done from the inside of this server or the server of another user that I am mutuals, friends, or associates with, such as Horror's server, which I forget the name of at the moment, Hellfire Manor, or Daxima and Phantasma's The Gateway, or Rolling in the Isles, which is owned by Bill and Aiden, or, if at some point somebody is invited into it, because I'm pretty sure I'm the only one who's probably here that has access to it, Altana Vault, or for, words are hard, or for, Bass FCZ, for Xerius's, server of Lawrence's Ecclesiarchy? For Lawrence's Ecclesiarchy, or any other server of the such. The rules of that server will be upheld, as well as the TOS of this server being upheld. No exceptions. This includes the TOS of every single website that Carl and company are streaming to. That means, if I am on the Broken Crown channel for Rolling in the Isles, you follow the rule of Rolling in the Isles, you follow the rule of Altana Vault, and you follow the rules of their chat. as well as the rules of my chat and my server. This is the ultimate Rule Zero when it concerns this content. Again, thanks Spider Monkey Man. And others. If the head moderator, a mod, or any guest and audience member catches any user taking advantage of a situation or distraction that I am dealing with in the voice channel during any broadcasted content, such as tech solutions, talking to a person on the side, whether it might be for admonishment or for a piece of side content or a segue, especially if it's something that needs to be said on air. Any kind of distraction, any kind of sideline, any kind of thing at all, anywhere, any place, anytime at all, the moderators and Hellfire have the explicit full authority to ban your ass instantly! Without question, without liaison. You're not just chatting with friends and community members in the live broadcast for content that is being projected for my channel. This is material and content that represents me and my content and my character and my audience. It not only reflects me, it reflects the environment of the server and the suspected attitude and the animosity of everyone and the quality of the people found in that community therein. We cannot grow if people do not want to fuck with what I do or fuck with us because of the behavior of someone who thought it was funny to do something that they knew they shouldn't have done, but they decided to do it anyways. It's funny though. It is not about optics cucking. I will remove that argument right out the fucking pot, which is why I said it up in the first top of the section, but we're repeating it down here again to make sure it's explicitly clear. It is not about optics cucking to hide a power level, because we don't need to begin with. Everyone here can raise their hand and say, does Carl say what he means all the time, or does he try to hide his opinion? No, we've had multiple situations and multiple opportunities where I've explained to people my thought process, and you always hear me not necessarily ho and hum, but try to find the exact way I want to explain the reasons why I want to be understood the way I want to be understood. It's my assumption everybody wants to be understood, and this is probably the hardest section it took me to fucking write. Despite the fact it seems like it's the most straightforward one, it was very hard to write this. Because there are some people, present company included, that probably were at the point of why I had to write this section the way that I did. Because 1, didn't want to hurt people's feelings. 2, didn't want to make it seem like it was personal. It's not. It's business. But it's also fun. It's fun and business. So it's personal and pleasure. But it's not for the personality of people are embarrassing me, you guys are cringing me, you're making it look hard. It is for the fact that I have to juggle multiple fucking things and multiple hats and multiple plates. And if there is nothing more that is clear, that needs to be understood, because I like to be community-centric when it comes to doing that work, that's why they were designed, that's why they were made. I wanted to hear from my audience, that's why I made Versus Chat, and I made it so that people could talk. I wanted to be able to talk about the shit that I was seeing on the internet, and talk about it with people that I would trust as hosts and commentaries and carriers. That's why I made Fried Chicanery. I wanted to have the ability to have a segment that could be understood as my everyday content, that people could tune into and find out about. That's why I made Carl at Home, and other such things that I've made in the past, or will make in the future. It is not about optics sucking, to hide our power level, because I do not hide it to begin with, and it has never been something that I care about. It is about having tact, decorum, and understanding that the most important shit that we do here, that Carl and company does here, is to not that we do here is not the time for poorly delivered, cringe, and or outright troll provocative and inflammatory takes, comments, and unfiltered thoughts. I will not tolerate people taking advantage of anyone, including myself, during a live show, period. There is a time and there is a place, and those are not it, especially if you have stage fright. While I encourage everyone to have fun in the group chats and in the calls, they are not licensed to treat the content like a vulgar open night might, where's your heart, Carl? You have your tooth chip and it's making it hard to speak, Carl. They are not licensed to treat the content like a vulgar open mic night with zero accountabilities or an opportunity to get Carl and friends' accounts and channels banned for the fun and lulz. Fuck around. Immediately find out. I will curse at you in French and Creole, and then I will ban your ass. This obviously does not fully apply to things that are not broadcasted in the VCs, but you should still read the room with the people that you're chatting in and act like us responsible adults. I trust you all to act like responsible adults and have good judgment. If I have to assume that we cannot have that judgment, it's going to get really unfun for those people who decide to push my fucking nerves. But that's only if you have the intention on breaking the rules anyways. My suggestion, do not fuck with the rules. Don't test us. Don't be the new example. Don't be the new example. Additional notes on this. These ones were also hard to write, because it was a very hard decision that I had to make concerning the ability to give head of Big Titty Committee and Chat Initiative to people. On before in the system, it was very much a case of people that I could trust to do it. But I'm going to now make it a paid role. For some of the people that I know probably want it the most, they will probably have to pay for it. For some people, I trust some more than others that they will not have to pay for it, but that's because they've already shown the character to show that they can be trusted with the role, because they already have that tact and decorum that I discussed. Additional notes. I got it. Yeah, I covered it. I got this change. We want you to be able to kid around and have fun during live broadcast community events that have been invented and designed for you to do so, such as Versus Chat. But I need you guys to please remain mindful of the fact that the stream chat needs to remain on topic so that we can get through the content and produce the most fun, smooth, and tech-solved shows possible. Do not filibuster the show with meaningless questions, topics, or drama, or unrelated commentary unless you have been prompted to do so. That means if a guest has asked you, or I have asked you, or one of the moderators that are helping us keep time have asked you, do not interject it. If it is not a fully formed thought in your mind, keep it in your mouth until you know how to communicate it. If it has nothing to do with the content at that time, keep it in your mouth. Put it into somewhere else that it can be posted. Specifically, if there is something that you want to bring to my attention that would be potential for content, that would be provocative for the thing that we're doing, or is breaking news about the situation that we're covering, and we are currently too caught up in discussion to notice that discovery and that development, and somebody else hasn't mentioned it, please post about it in the non-podcast chat, as well as making use of public threads. Post the content in podcast ideas and make a thread to further discussion about it, or open a forum thread inside of Printing Press Express. For everything else, use tact, use decorum, and use good judgment. If the topic or question you need, or the topic or question you have is something that you need to interject, it will never hurt to ask permission. It will cost you to expect me to grant forgiveness if everyone decides that they're going to ask for forgiveness before asking for permission. Again, fuck around and immediately find out. I have a tolerance for this, and I've explained this tolerance before. It's the reason why these sections have been written like this. Before, my tolerance level on a level of 1, representing my highest tolerance, to 10, my lowest tolerance, was a 1.5. After all the shit that we've dealt with that have led to me writing the last 2 sections the way that I have, my tolerance level now is always percolating around a 7.5. I have a soft barrier where I allow grievances and I allow for people to make mistakes because it might be hard for some people to adjust to the changes. And there are some people that just get excited that they just need to tell me. But I do not want to, have to, pull people to the side and talk to them about their interjections. Some I have, only because on the concern of the things that I want to do, and I've talked about this with somebody who's going to be brought in for helping coordinate content in the future. Some of you have seen him about, but you're going to get to know him a little bit more in the future. I do not want that when I go to edit our content, that instead of working off of a clean 3 to 4 hours, I need to parse through what I was doing with the beginning of Versus Chat before in the past. 10, 11, 12, 16-hour pieces of content focusing on one thing, segmented between multiple streams. Some of this work and some of this content that I put together does not require 10 hours of coverage. Not unless it's separate streams between different things giving updates about it. It does not need 3-part stream coverages of a single topic because we are so stuck filibustering about things that have nothing to do with anything that we need to do that. It is unacceptable. It is unacceptable for me and my standard of creativity because I have no interest in doing that. That shit will die on the vine. And also, this content gets re-uploaded and reposted to other places, to other channels, to other platforms. You know that I conglomerize this to my YouTube and that I conglomerize this to my Twitter. But you also know that I post things on TikTok that then get cross-posted to Twitter, they get cross-posted to Instagram, they get cross-posted in the potential in the future to Reddit, and to other places as well. It's gotta be crisp, it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be cut. I cannot interject this and involve this and use it to build my brand if people decide to have disgusting filthy mouths all the time because they find it funny to ruin content. For the fuck of it. It is probably the shortest my fuse will be. That doesn't mean that I'm always going to have a short fuse, which means, you know, the way to piss me off is the way. That's not what I mean. I give the example to say that I am very much running out of grace. Because I can only expect at some point in time, especially as I'm making it very clear here, that as you hear me explaining this, that in the back of your mind, where it's like, this would be really funny though. Balance the it'll be really funny though with what will happen after it's really funny though. I can almost promise you, it will not be worth it. Don't do 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 it. During the show, when we are in the swing of things, especially in closed session content, unless you have Big Titty Committee and Chat Initiative, we will not permit entry to non-moderators, non-requested hosts. Presentors is spelled incorrectly. Why did I think that had an O? Clearly that was Carl operating on 2.5 brain cells. During any show, specifically, usually this is going to be in the case of things like Versus Chat, or the Fried Chicanery, or any other place where I'm not the person who's involved with controlling what happens on the microphone. When we are in the swing of things, unless you have these roles, we will not permit additional entry to non-moderators, non-requested hosts, non-requested content presenters, or other figures during closed mic broadcasting sessions and content. This is in the purposes of mitigating interruptions and keeping the timing on the broadcasts smooth and tight. So far, we've had at least 5 different people request content. I believe this year I've done at least 3 segment pieces that were requested by people who paid money through their pledges on Subscribestar specifically and on YouTube memberships specifically. In this case, this should be Fire Emblem and another one which I forgot off the top of my head. I do not want you guys to conglomerize their time because you decided that because you saw us in a chat room somewhere, that meant you needed to go in there because, hey, yo, I just want to see what it's talking about. I can almost promise you, if we're in a place that you cannot see or that you can see but cannot access, I can almost promise you there's a reason why it's happening in there in that way. That is also the reason why the server has been segmented the way that it's been segmented. It is also the reason why there are chats where they are inside of this. If you want to have the mission to join during these content segments, you must purchase the rights by pledging to the appropriate Subscribestar, Ko-Fi, and YouTube membership tiers for the minimum of $20 a month. Unlike people like Dev that do a $5 Mug Club for Life system for like donating $100 and being in the subscriber tier for life, I'm doing it on a monthly basis. And the reason why is because I do not want a person that believes that because they've sent $100, that gives them the ability to just shit on an entire broadcast, especially during a closed mic session, on something that could be probably the most influential and most important, what's the word I'm looking for? Networking and brand building moments of content. We've had this happen in the past, which is why people who were content creators have left the server, like, as of late, recently, or in the past. It has been something that has been an active problem that led to a detriment of work. Because when people do things like this, it makes me not want to do the content. When people decide to ruin Versus Chat, it makes me chill on doing Versus Chat. Because it tells me that the people that we have here that are paying attention to the Versus Chats are showing up to conglomerize them for themselves and their own enjoyment, not because they want to be for the content. Which I'm very much fucking against. Horror knows this, which is why she talked to me about this the other day, because it's something that I've had as a concern, outright fucking fear. I fear people doing shit specifically to take advantage of me at the most sensitive moment that could be, which is something that could be a career-breaking moment, or a career-breaking rant, or a very great, potentially going viral take that gets ruined by somebody that decides to shit on it because they decided, haha, I'm gonna do this. So for those people, trust me, you'll know who you are because I will tell you to your face. For those people that if you feel like you're being left out and that you're having FOMO, that you just gotta be in there, bro, I gotta get in there, you're gonna have to pay. I did not want to have to do this when I first started. I said this multiple times when I created Versus Chat. I didn't want to have to do this, but we have to. It is necessary. I got to. And it's not even necessarily because of the people in mind who might think that they are responsible or not responsible. It is because of every single person that has required us to create new rules. All of those people took your fun. All those people took those things from you. It's the thing that I said over in Roles, I believe. Having set new ranks and rules for containment channels and art and memory without restrictions. If y'all fuck it up, I'm taking it away. That is effectively what I've had to do here. That is effectively why that is written into the rules there. Those people fucked it up for you. Don't blame me, blame them. Don't blame me, blame them. If you want to have the permissions, you must pay. The links are inside of the link tree. The link tree has even been updated so that you can be able to see what it is you're clicking on. Got little memes and little pictures. Some of them have been drawn by people who I've requested art from. Some of them have been created by people like you. And some of them are things that I made myself. That is the end of the rules section. Before we move on to anything else, comments, questions, concerns. Speak now, forever hold your happiness. Speak now, forever hold your pick. Where is my hair pick, by the way? My good one. I'll use my polyurethane one. Speak now, forever hold your pick. Comments, questions, concerns. Yes, no, maybe so. Your dog licks butts and it's got a fro? No? Alright, moving on to the next section. Obviously, you all already know about the role section. I'm probably going to delete this section because we don't need it anymore. Yeah, I'm probably going to delete this section. Polls and announcements. More than likely, the moderators and I are going to start making more use of polls and announcements, especially for things coming up in the future. This is going to be in the case of doing things like what we're doing at the end of the month. We can put that on screen real quick. As I've already posted this inside of the community tab, and I already cross-posted it, not just to the server, but also everywhere else. At the end of the month. Beep beep ba da boop. Put it on screen, Carl. Beep beep boop. At the end of the month, I am planning for a full week and 3 days, 10 days, from the 21st to the 30th. 8 to 12 hour streams of Community Don't Starve Together with people who are in the Discord. The game costs $15. We're going to be streaming it to YouTube and Twitch. We're going to start doing this more, protracted and talked about in the future, announced ahead of time, posted on the community channel, on the YouTube, and then cross-posted to the Twitter, and then cross-posted and announced again inside of Relaxation Lounge, and probably also again inside of Casual Colored Memes, so that everybody is aware of it, as well as polls and announcements. More than likely, it'll just be polls and announcements. As I'm saying that in my head, that didn't sound like it made sense, because I've been posting a lot more of these things to Relaxation Lounge to get you guys to pay attention to them, make sure you don't miss them. But because of how we now have segmented the server, it is probably going to be easier and much better for me to put them in polls and announcements. So keep your eyes on polls and announcements. Also, polls and announcements are attached to and have things from other servers being posted there as announcements for people to look into. As you can see here, when you look at the thing, like here, you can see that you're getting announcements from the Helldivers official Discord server, which I am inside of, as well as other servers. This is something that I wouldn't say you necessarily have to fucking request. But if there's something in here, it's for the purposes of you looking into it. That is what he's there for. Welcome, Aeon Not Neat. For all the purposes, concerns that you have, more than likely, it will be in polls and announcements. They might be made by me, they might be made by the head moderator, they might be made by the moderators. But if there is an announcement that has to do with the content, and it's not a content announcement, such as, hey, Carl's gone live, because before in the past, literally probably one of the biggest concerns, Dino, for Twitch, whenever there was be a Twitch disconnection, unlike the disconnections that would happen for YouTube, it would just spam things, and make it impossible for people to actually know whether or not I was live on what link I was live on. We have taken that away. We have fused the stream and the video notifications into one announcement section. So, if you need to know if I've gone live, it will be posted here, because I am going to probably make the primary de facto place that I stream to, if I have to choose a single place to stream to, YouTube. Twitch and Twitter and Kick are going to be tertiary and quaternary, respectively. At maximum, if I have $20 to pay for the extension for Restream, because Restream's been kind of ass and very spotty for the last 10 months. If I have the money to throw at it, and I feel like we can be able to afford and try to make some content for some reach to do so, to grow my reach on those platforms, we're going to do so. Specifically for the purposes of being able to create those platforms, because I want to be able to have my content seen on multiple places. This also would extend to TikTok, but TikTok is just as fucking inherently and stringently autistic to try and get a stream going on, despite the fact that it's supposed to be easier, but they don't make it easier. They really try to conglomerize it so that they try to get you to use it mandatorily as your number one go-to place, rather than the place that most people use it. We'll figure that out in time, but basically, YouTube and Twitch are the only dedicated two that I mandatorily stream to as a part of using Restream. If I'm not using Restream, we are streaming to YouTube. It is as simple as that. Whenever it goes live, it will be posted here by Dino. Whenever I post a video, let's scroll up to where the last video that I made was. Apparently, the last one I did was They Got Friend-Soda, which was a short, but it still gets posted. It still gets posted to YouTube. If I post a video to YouTube, it will be in here. If I post a stream, or I'm going live with a stream from my stream link, it will be here. Simple as. The Subscriber Star welcome part, that only applies if you're using Subscribe Star. There isn't anything posted in here because I don't think we've actually had a lot of Subscribe Stars over the last 2 to 3 years of pledges. I believe I've had a maximum of 10, but some people have unsubscribed because they had financial issues, some people unsubscribed for other reasons, blase, not a big concern. And of course, new arrival. If people are here, we'll click on it, say hi to them, etc. Now, to the fun part, breaking down how the server works now. Need to go inside of View Server as Role. Make this very, very simple. Very, very simple. This is probably the most simple part to understand. That's why I'm making sure that you see it. As you can see here, despite the fact that there are multiple server pieces, Now that it's on the everyone role, oh no, where did everything go? Don't worry, it's not broken. This is by design. This is what the tiers are for. On the everyone role, meaning you somehow got into the server and you are not a level that is above inductee, this is all you get to see. Casual Colored Memes is now the default foundation level chat and conglomerization and gathering hub for everybody for the server. There are tiers above this where people can speak amongst it, but it's not so that it makes you feel left out. As it says inside of Colored Memes Depot, this is the way station between the main server and those who have yet to become dank. Hashtag TM Trade Snark. And as it says in the poop shoot, this is a way station for those who have yet to ascend into the main server. Being a chill person will get you into the main server. Be chill. And yes, Harvey, I know it's a joke. But this is not made like this to make you feel as though you're not allowed to have fun. This is designed like this because of, again, people in the past fucking it up for other people. We've had people harassing the server. We've had people spamming the server with gore, spamming my DMs with gore, trying to harass us with with fucking raids, trying to throw off content, and trying to get my channel suspended by lying about things, getting confronted in interviews, lying about the interview, trying to hide the fact that the interview was had and they didn't get what they wanted out of it. People lying about shit and doing things, raiding the server to scream the R&R live on air while I'm playing video games of any capacity, of any kind, etc., etc., etc. This is why it's designed like this. So, if you are at the level of just now joining the server, for example, if I go to an important, if we look at Aeon, let's assume we're looking at the server like Aeon, because Blonde joined earlier, and Blonde was at the inductee level, but is now at the neophyte level. Before for Blonde, as well as currently for Aeon, until they are here, until that role is removed automatically by Dino and reassigned with neophyte. This is all you will see. That is by design. This does not mean that you're missing out on things, because there will be people, and I encourage you all to talk not just inside of Relaxation Lounge and other places in the server, but also to interact with people in Casual Colored Memes. That's why there is a CCM1 and a CCM2 voice channel. It is also why the Poop Shoot is there and Colored Memes Depot is there. This is your de facto general chat. This is your de facto memes posting center. This is the AFK voice channel, text channel for making use of Fredboat. This is the music control system so that you can listen to music inside of it. The AFK lobby is here. The music lobby is here. Even though you might not have access to the higher tiers, we will do things inside of CCM1 and CCM2 like we usually do. I am not going to just conglomerize all of the chats to the higher levels and then make people miss out. You will be included. You will not be forgotten. You are not forgotten, etc. Moving to the next tier. Beep beep bop 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 beep bop. Once you go from inductee to neophyte, you now have access to the Afro Parlor. This is Relaxation Lounge, Gaming Mega Gay, Checkpoint, Political Discussion, Art, Meme, Shilling, Music and Playlists, as well as Carl posting. Again, this is by design. Also, before we move forward, if at any time you get restricted because you have broken a rule and you're being put in timeout, you will be locked out of the higher tiers that you are a part of. I do not care who you are. I don't care if you're inductee level. I don't care if you're neophyte level. I don't care if you're Mandingo level. You will be locked out of them, and you will be put in timeout. You will not have the ability to communicate in anything, even though you might be able to see it. More than likely, I've been bouncing on whether or not you'll have the ability to do it, because realistically, like I said to Horror last night, timeout should feel like timeout. So, if you fucked up, and you fucked up real bad, and you thought, haha, they're not gonna do anything to me, they're not gonna treat me differently, ho ho, I beg to fucking differ. You will be bounced down to the lowest tier, and if it's extremely fucking egregious, you might get muted and you might lose your roles and have to build yourself back up again, because it's all about trust. I am building a high trust community and a high trust society. In order for that to work, gotta follow the rules and gotta be fucking good people. If at any time you receive a restriction, that does not mean that you are basically banned forever to the wastelands. Inside of a section that will only appear to you, should you need use of it, is the Mod Country Club for bans and appeals. I just noticed that one of these got a difference in name, which it should not have. That should be a space rather than an lowercase. I'll fix that in a moment. Should you need to go to ban and appeals, you will have the ability to make a post so that we can address it. The moderators will get in touch with you. I will get in touch with you. It will be handled routinely. It has been designed in this way so that in the case that something happens, it can be handled. There is nothing wrong with this system. The system was designed for straight line convenience and for usability. It is as simple as that. Not everybody needs to know about everything that's happening at once. Simple as. Simple as. Back to explaining the tiers. Once you are at the neophyte level, you will have access to the Afro Parlor. Those of you who have been before who are aware of exceptionalism, you will see that it is absent here. That is because, since this is a role that you will be automatically slid into after you've been brought into the server and you've read the rules, because rather than use a bot that's going to tell you that you need to do onboarding for this, and this, because the onboarding system looked autistically dumb to me and I did not want to do it, it is instead going to be done on a system level of we will figure out if you understand how to follow the rules by your continued permanence in the server. By staying in the server, it is expected that because you are doing X, Y, and Z, as you read the rules and you stay here, you are consenting to what is happening. So, as you slide upwards, you might notice here in the rules, it says that those who are at the neophyte level don't have access. Once you get to the next tier of Mandingo Kiva, this will now open up for the current space event, or rather the current event space, as well as use of what was formerly broadcasting, now known as current event, where you can find the Printing Press Express, the Stream Chat Relay, which honestly I should probably actually bring this down. I'm probably going to bring this down to Casual Colored Memes level, probably for the purposes of it. Honestly, I feel like I shouldn't, because realistically, those people will still have the ability to link to it directly. Actually, as I'm saying it, no, I will not bring it down. It's going to be a privilege. It's a privilege. I'm ruling it as a privilege for the people who have been there long enough to get to the next level. You can also see the Printing Press Express. If you have not been making use of this, this is the forum post system. This is the most important reason why I updated the server and put it to a community server level. This is for us to be able to post about things. So those of you that have a lot of things you come across and you're like, damn, it'd be really cool if Carl sees this, but you don't want to put it in podcast ideas. This is where you can put it now to make sure that I don't miss it. Especially if it's something that you need to have addressed. This is how this is to be made into work, so we can have the ability to do the thing, so that everybody can find the thing that needs to be said. This is also probably the biggest expended use for those of you who find things on Twitter. Does something piss you off and annoy you? Ayo! You can simply be able to post it here. You don't gotta post it anywhere else. Simple, easy, clean, like the way you're making me feel tonight. Etc, 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 etc. This is also where Podcast Ideas is. This has been something that I've allowed for before, because usually we would post the link and we talk about it. But occasionally people get carried away and they get onto side conversations. So, the way that we're going to do it, make sure that I'm viewing this at the proper level. Boom, bada bing, ba pow. As we're viewing it at a certain level, this feature here is called a thread. You access this, the way that you would access this actually, is that you would click on this, and then it gives the ability to add reactions and reply, etc., etc. I believe the way that I've set this up is that at the current tier of Mandingo Kiva, you'll have the ability to go into threads that are made on the topic, but if you're at the Mandingo Kiva level, you will not be able to make public threads of your own yet. This is for you to understand how the system works. I want you to have the ability to interact with the system and post about the system, but I want you to understand how the system works so that you can get used to doing it. Preferably, I'd like the people at the Mandingo level to try and put things in Printing Press Express. Everyone else will probably go between podcast ideas and Printing Press Express. But the way that you should view this, if it's not something that I would go over on air, put it in Printing Press. If it's something that you think is going to make for a really good stream segment for me to cover, put it in podcast ideas. Make sense? Makes sense to me. Groovy. Also, Body Politic was moved here, as well as the original gaming channel and the non-podcast chat still being a holdover from the original broadcast setup. This is basically the news section of the server. Since I cover a lot of breaking news and a lot of current events, we want to keep it separate from the Afro Parlor. I want you guys to be able to have fun talking about whatever in here. If we need to make new things for you to chat about so that it's not necessarily about covering and talking about the news segments, if you want to cross-post, there is a way to do that. You go here and you click on Message ID, and then you post that Message ID there. Didn't post like that properly because reasons. I think it's actually more like copy message link. Yes, this one. And this way, it allows you to have the ability to cross-post. Because let's say I post this inside of Relaxation Lounge. Click on this, it takes you to where that post is. That's the easiest way for you to understand how to use that. We're going to make use of that a lot. Because I want people to understand why things are being said, where and how. That way, we have the ability to direct things to where they need to go. Keep everything going on a nice little cycle, on a nice little flow. Alongside this, with Gaming Mega Gay, Checkpoint, Political Destruction, Art, Meme, Shilling, Music, Playlist, and Carl posting, of which, really honestly, a lot of this really is Hellfire. Like, so many posts that this is Hellfire. I want you guys to be able to feel free to show the things that you're working on and to show your channels. It's not just all about my growth. It's also about us growing together. That's what a community is. We commune with each other, we build with each other. We build each other up, we help each other in our hours of need, we work each other with each other, we play with each other, etc., 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 etc. We ain't just gonna build shit and then get rich quick and then build ourselves up and then fuck everybody else and then I'm gonna act like I don't know nobody. That's not how we do things here. That's not how I was raised. I believe in community, I believe in collectiveness, I believe in cooperation. But I am not a communist. From here, the next step up is the boys. With access to the boys comes access to exceptionalism. Obviously, for obvious reasons, I'm not going to click on Contismtainment and Lewd Coomer. But this is where the not safe for work shit gets posted. If you believe there is a reason that you should be at the boys level, please ping me or the moderators. If you know that you have not been here long enough to justify your leveling to the boys, or you just really gotta see that mid-note that I just posted, tough titties! At the base level, the boys can be understood to be full permission access. But hark! You might notice, if this was originally broadcasting, there are two things that are missing. And you would be correct. It is now a tier above. Those who are a part of the Chat Initiative and the Big Titty Committee will have access to the broadcasting voice channels. They'll have the ability to connect and speak. Anybody else being dragged into that channel, you will have to earn the permission. Unless you are there because you requested the content, or you are there because you specifically have a reason to be there. It might get used as a place to talk to people, separate from the server, so that they don't need to be seen publicly. It might be pulled there for emergency purposes, reasons, and powers. For whatever reason, this is where this lives now. It is up here for a reason. It is up here for a reason. If you feel like you just desperately need to see who's in here, pay for it. Again, don't blame me, blame people in the past. Don't blame me, blame people in the past. I have deemed it necessary because of those people. However, because it is something that basically is earned, all three of these roles, UNCF, Big Titty Committee, and Chat Initiative, are considered full access roles. If full access means the ability to see when we're broadcasting in the broadcasting live room and being able to come in for on-air versus chats. The people who have Big Titty Committee that they did not have to pay for it are people that have earned the right because they can be trusted. For everyone else, there's a reason. And if you want it, gotta pay for it. I will experiment within the next few live shows about doing things from casual collared memes and then doing things from the broadcasted live room. If things go well, I might make some exceptions. Depending on the live stream event, depending on where it's done, and how we do it. For example, in the last month, we have done live watches and live reacts for the Marvels, as well as Miss Marvel, which led into content for Fried Chicanery. We have done watch parties for Quiet on Set and Mea Culpa, which may or may not get made into content for myself or Jay, which have been broadcasted to Twitter on a separate broadcast. Some of these broadcasts, as I've been told by Horror, have different functionality on mobile, in the case that, depending on what mobile platform you have and access and use, ooh woo, how may I help you? Thank you, Squanching57, for the follow. I've been showing for a wee bit. You would need to tell me how much you've been spending in consummate total. Please contact me about that after the live stream, after I'm done with this segment. Where was I? Ah, yes. I've been experimenting with doing live streams on Twitter. It is the place where if you're going to watch something that is licensed content, that if I was to put it on Twitch or YouTube, would get my channel banned. That is where it's going to happen. Any kind of watch party, I'm not just going to simply hold off to the server. I'm going to make it a thing to be broadcasted. That is more than likely where the experimentation about permissions and rights and rules will be had. I would say show up to those events. Interact with those events. Depending on how you behave in those events, you might be able to swing getting the permissions. Etc., etc. In your case, Harvey, you're probably one of the people that I used as a rule case of an example behind, do they pass the muster? For you specifically, you would be someone that I would have to see a lot more live stream etiquette and improvement from. But if you believe you've spent enough money to be at that tier that's described inside of the rules, if you feel that you've given over $100 in excess plus, please link me the thing and we'll talk about it later. But you're not the only person I've thought of with this. I'm not trying to single you out. I'm just giving you the example because you're saying that you've earned it. So since you're putting yourself in the spot, I'm addressing it. I believe in open hand policy. Not hiding anything. Not doing anything under the table. My hands are above the table. Stroking. Stroking, fondling the balls. Stroking. Stroking, fondling the balls. That is the extent of the roles for the server. I don't have any plans to make any more roles. As you gain a role, you will lose the role that you had before. If you fuck up and do things, you will be brought down a peg, as well as any other restrictions that may be given to you. And of course, obviously, people who work for me, whether they be channel editors or moderators, have the ability to have, quote, full unrestricted access to the server, which includes some things that have to do with moderators that you don't even know about because you guys aren't moderators. And again, for those of you who are interested and want to become moderators, the link to do so is there for the moderator application. It is a very simple check system. You will have to submit yourself, this is probably the biggest part of it, to a background check of the things that you say and do. Because if you want to be a person who has responsibility and power in my audience, you're going to uphold my rules at all times as if you are me. That is just how it works. You will have to submit yourself to that judgment, because I do not want to give power to somebody who's going to abuse it and use it as a way to destroy things. In this situation, concerning that, I have seen that happen, not only to my mutuals and friends, but to people who I have conglomerized and worked with myself on other projects, such as Digital Blackface with Poe, and watched it get burnt to ash. I'm not sure if there's anybody here who's from Poe's Court, or from the original Digital Blackface server, which was then destroyed by ex-producer The Burn Show, who was responsible for making me have the policy strike warning that I had on my channel for years on end since COVID. But I have seen what has happened when the wrong people get power and the wrong people get influence. That will not happen under my fucking watch. I say to you here now, it will not happen under my watch. So if you want to become a moderator, there's rules you have to follow. There's standards you have to meet. There's shit you gotta do. So if you believe you pass muster and you want to cut it, that's what you gotta do. Thus ends my presentation. Any final comments, questions, and concerns? I was watching back and seeing what you were saying before. Any specific to be mentioned? There's a certain etiquette you need to learn, Harvey. A certain level of decorum, if you will. Specifically, yes. Yeah, why are you yelling? Because I'm explaining shit about my server. I'm making it crystal clear. Because this will be linked inside the rules section, so that people have an explanation for why everything works the way it does. Etc. Now again, before I end this segment, any comments, questions, and concerns? Speak now! Or if it be ever now. We'll bring this up to this level. I'm gonna turn on my light so I can look real epic and shit. Does anybody have any questions? I actually turned my TV on. Does anybody have any questions? Also, I am loud, I'm boisterous, because I'm energetic and charismatic. That is how I pulled my wife, you see, by being silly and goofy. What kind of decorum etiquette must you learn? Knowing when to speak and knowing when not to speak. That is probably the biggest one for you. Especially if you want to earn it without paying for it. You have to learn when to behave, and effectively, when is the time and place. Does anybody else have any questions? Yes. Does anybody else have any questions? There are no wrong answers except the wrong answers, like should you touch your sister at night? Obviously no. Does anybody else have any comments, questions, and concerns? Are you doing Quiet on Set episode 5? Yes, I have already said that I will be doing it. I already know it's past the first week of April. I believe I will schedule it for Friday this week. And yes, if you have questions about that, John, Horror will address your concerns. But I believe if I'm going to do it this week, and I don't do it on Thursday, I will do it Friday. I feel like Friday is smart because there should be more people that getting off of work and be able to tune in for it. Saturday and Sunday also would work, but I honestly don't know because I have not done a poll about where people in my audience are coming from. I have Eastern fans, I have Western fans, I have European fans, etc., etc., etc. So the time slot will probably be 5 p.m. Eastern Standard. More than likely. That's the tentative goal I'm working for. There will obviously be a post and announcement about the date and time that I will choose when I finalize it. But I am leaning on Friday, 5 p.m. start time. Obviously, it will be recorded and posted to Twitter. Does anyone else have comments, questions, and concerns? This is so fun. Oh, I just realized this is a cell dance. Shit. Actually, I'm gonna move this out of the way so I can do this. Yeet! You may not be able to join much things as you are occupied with family matters. That's fine. No one's trying to press you about that. That's completely understandable. Life happens. Shit. How many times have I not broadcasted because something's happening to star on my kid? Life happens. I'm not concerned about that. We'll see you when we see you. Again, this is not about militantly putting people to work to spread my influence on the internet. Oh, however, on that concern, since it actually came to my mind, I would highly suggest for each and every one of you that would like to see me have opportunities and access to shit, I would highly suggest making Carl posts and probably making TikTok accounts, YouTube accounts, Twitch accounts, Twitter accounts dedicated to clips of the audience together and of me as well. Because if you really, really, really hope that wasn't the doorbell. If you really want to be able to see a lot of this effort for shit come back, the biggest people that we would rely on in this concern for those things is going to be all of you, not necessarily just me. That's completely fine. That's completely fine and understandable, Harvey. It's completely fine and understandable. As I'm saying, it is going to be very much on the audience, not necessarily me. Obviously, I need to be the content creator and create content for you to then clip and post everywhere else. But I cannot say with enough chutzpah in my heart, it is on you guys. Everything lies on all of us collectively. It is a fucking wide, it's a fine, well-oiled machine. I be funny, haha, stupid, silly, and serious. You guys make content, and when you're like, hey, you know what? It would be really cool if I saw Carl and Study and Craig's show Side Scrollers. You have to be the ones. You have to be the ones. You have to be the ones to say, you should have Carl on. Word of mouth is very much the way that we grow right now. Always has been. That's why people come around here. Because they stick around. I got shit to do. But none of this works if basically you wait for shit to happen and you guys only show up when there's energy to be given. You should always stick into a single player Carl stream because you'll never know what the fuck I'm doing that day. You'll have no idea what content I'm covering. Doesn't even matter if I'm covering something that happens to be video games. Doesn't matter if I'm just playing video games for 6 to 16 hours straight. Something that we also do here. Doesn't matter if I'm yelling at my microphone. Doesn't matter if we're doing debates to a person, whomever, whatever. Tune in every stream. If you have the ability to, and you have nothing else better to do that is more important, tune into every stream. Engage with the audience. Make it possible to have content for streams. You don't know what will come of it. You'll have no idea what comes of it. The most recent thing that was quite literally created by an audience member was Saffronet putting me in hands and getting me to handshake with Bass FCZ. That's another thing that slipped my mind, but I didn't think I was going to cover it because realistically, I didn't want to toot my own horn. Toot toot, but ayo. Anyone else have any comments, questions, and concerns? Okay, there are no stupid questions except stupid questions. That is mostly a meme that I'm saying. Let me do the foot thing again. Damn it, I forgot how I did it. Stand behind, back. Foot, there we go. Questions and comments going once. Questions and comments going twice. Questions and comments going thrice. Questions and comments with fried rice. Okay. If nobody else has any questions, comments, and concerns to air by the end of the moment I finish the sentence, I have food that I need to put away in my house. Most of the ones that are very important that were already frozen, that need to be frozen, were already put away. But, as you might remember, in the middle of the stream, I got food delivery, as well as food, groceries delivered to my home that I need to organize and put away. And I will not be live for 3 hours for the purposes of doing things with my wife, as I promised. More than likely, I will not be here from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. or 2-ish p.m. to 5 p.m. So at some point, I should return back and be live on air around 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. today, doing whatever the fuck I choose to do. But if there are no other comments, questions, or concerns that have been thought of at the last moment, I'm going to end the broadcast in 60 seconds. If at some point in time that you have comments, questions, concerns that you've only thought of at this exact moment, I would suggest going to the server, links of which can be found in the description box of the YouTube stream, and it occurs to me, because I know that I did not fucking properly update them before, I'll need to make sure that I link properly over to the panels as I get on my knees, my old man knees, and update for the Twitch panel, so that you have that link. I believe there's also a link for the link tree to SP Carl. I'm gonna make sure that it's updated. I'm checking it right the fuck now. Thanks, past Carl. You're welcome, current Carl. Going to the panels. Looking at the panels. Rules. Support. Yes, the link tree is here. So if you go to the link tree inside of support and you click on the link tree, you will be able to click there and then go to the link that has the Discord link to go there for it. You just click on the thing, then click and click and click. I'll actually put it on screen for you so you can see. Beep, 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 beep. Go here, click on Linktree, and then right there, top of the bar, Discord server link. Click that, brings you in. Single player Carl and Company. Vintage single player Carl in triple color stereo hyperplay, which I don't use anymore. The Xavier arc, I call it. And you will have the link to get in the server, blase, blase, blase. For those who are YouTube chudbuds, the simple way to do this, go to here, click on the stream, then open up the links. Actually, it's not, nope, yes it is. Right here, all links, Linktree, same shit. Simple, easy, clean. Like the way you're making bitches feel at night. It's hard to let it go. Does anybody else, before I click stop streaming, have any comments, questions, or concerns? Questions going once. Questions going twice. Questions going thrice. Serve with fried rice. Alright. I am going to go do the housework I need to do, because my clothes are also done in the dryer, and I would like to organize them. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tolerating my shit. I will see you all in this case, it's 1:25 at EST, so I will see you all in 4-ish hours. 4 to 5-ish hours, maybe. We'll see what happens. Anyways, thank you for listening to my presentation on the server. Thank you for being in my audience. Thank you for making it possible to be the navigated Negro that you don't know. Stick around. There's some great shit coming to you. And goodbye, everybody. I will see you. Same call time. Same call channel. And if you are new here, welcome to Carl and Company. We hope to see you again. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. All social media can be found inside the links for the link tree. Bye-bye. Goodbye. 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 Bye-bye. Ta-ta. So long for now. So long. Farewell to you, my friend.